It's week 2 of my 90 days to 10K followers on YouTube and LinkedIn challenge, where I teach you all about how to leverage the power of video to grow your audiences on both LinkedIn and YouTube. At the time of this recording, I have actually almost tripled my YouTube subscribers in less than a week. I'm not kidding you. Check out where I was here, and then where I was here, and then where I was here. At the time of this recording, I have about 134 subscribers on YouTube. That was after having like 55 or something when I first started this. So I can tell you that this does work, because the way that I was getting the word out about my YouTube challenge was on LinkedIn, right? Because I only had like 50 some odd followers on my YouTube channel from the podcast, my Camera Confident podcast that I've been uploading here for just a few months. So at the time of this recording, my YouTube channel is still relatively new, and I created this playlist because I want to help entrepreneurs just like you grow on YouTube with video. Before I go any further, if you don't know me, my name is Shirley Engel. I'm a former national television broadcaster turned video and visibility coach for entrepreneurs. I help you get seen with video, get discovered, become more visible by focusing on 3 main pillars: what to say, how to say it, and how to create buzz. Remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video in this challenge, and you can do it right along with me as we go. In today's video, I really want to talk about a subject that a lot of people come to me for coaching for, which is getting camera ready. But first, hold on. Let's just rewind for a second. How did this come about? Well, I was battling it out on Instagram just like the rest of you. A lot of you watching are probably here because maybe you've been posting on Instagram and seeing crickets. You put time and effort and energy into creating reels, and people don't even get past the first 2 seconds. They're not even shown to people. And you were like, I'm done with this. I know my content is good. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got great results with my clients. I want to get more followers and I want to grow my brand. And Instagram just wasn't doing it for you. And then maybe you went over to LinkedIn and thought, LinkedIn is the place to be, especially if you're in the B2B space and you really want to grow and find clients who, let's face it, people on LinkedIn are in more of a business mindset. They tend to have higher incomes. They tend to be much more interested in having conversations, in elevating their personal brands, and in showing thought leadership. And you're like, that's great. This is my jam. And then maybe you realized, if you've been following me on LinkedIn, that video is where it's at on that platform. Very few people relatively post regularly on LinkedIn, let alone make videos. So this is an amazing opportunity at the time of this recording, and probably long after, to really make your mark on LinkedIn. But then a lot of people I know are also interested in growing a YouTube channel. Is this starting to sound overwhelming? Because it was overwhelming for me. So what I really wanted to set out to do with this challenge is create a sustainable system for you to leverage both the power of long format and short format video on YouTube, grow your LinkedIn following, and combine the best of the 2 worlds to create a following where, if people discover you on LinkedIn, they can go onto your YouTube to binge your content. And that's where you can really nurture your audience and start sharing your expertise. So this challenge is all about helping you to do that. And I'm already seeing results. So I hope you're on board and that you'll jump in as well. Getting confident on camera. How does that all work? So let's dive into that. And in this video, I'm going to go through 5 different steps that you can follow to make sure that when you do show up on video, whether it's on YouTube or LinkedIn or anywhere else, that you're going to put the best foot forward and get people to be excited to watch you, connect with you, and keep watching. So I'm going back in time right now, and I wanted to record this part because I honestly believe that you need to show up in the best way possible for you. Now, for some people, that might mean what I'm doing right now, putting my face on, so to speak, doing my hair. This is what feels good for me. I was a broadcaster for 15 years, and I always got ready for on cameras like this. So this is second nature to me. I have a lot of client meetings where I also get ready like this. So it's not a heavy lift for me to, put on my makeup and do my hair. But if that's something that is stopping you from hitting record, if you're someone that's like, no, I can't go on unless I look a certain way, I challenge you to challenge yourself on that.
try recording without that. One of my best performing shorts from the past week is me at the gym with no makeup on at all, with a headband on. I mean, I wasn't actually planning on recording anything, but I had some inspiration and I decided to record a video. So for this YouTube challenge to really succeed, you really need to be able to remove all of the barriers to showing up. And whatever they are for you, you've got to take that into consideration. So figure that out. So if, like me, you don't want to record videos without having done your hair and your makeup, then batch record your content. Find a day of the week, whatever day that is, or evening, that you're going to get yourself ready, put on your face, and then record your videos. And then it's done. So you don't want to be having to record every single day. You want to try to do it at a time that you can just bang out a couple videos, and then that can carry you through for a certain amount of time. So figure out what feels best for you. How do you show up as your most authentic self? Because that's what people are going to relate to. And that's the best strategy, I think, to just getting over that, oh, I don't feel like recording today. Like, I feel better recording when I've done myself up. It's just how I've always been. It's how I am. So how do you feel best recording?
So you just saw me getting ready for a video. That was actually getting ready for the first video in this challenge. If you have not watched that, I recommend you click on that right now, and then you can come back to this video. But that's where I was showing you really that it doesn't take much. I didn't have a microphone in that quick little thing I recorded. I didn't have a script. I was kind of ad-libbing to camera just as I was putting on my makeup. You can do the same thing. How much more engaging and authentic would you be if you brought your viewers in while you were doing your thing, right? So can you record while you are already doing what you do best? And maybe that'll take the focus off the fact that you're actually recording a video, which for some people can be pretty confronting. So that's one of my tips for getting camera ready, is getting comfortable being really authentically you, whatever that is. You saw me talking there about showing up as you are, whatever that looks like to you. So that's tip number one, be yourself, because that is going to make you way more confident. If you're like getting yourself into an outfit you wouldn't normally wear, maybe trying to get into character or have a persona. When I was a television reporter, that's what I did. I got into like reporter mode. I had a reporter voice. I had a reporter outfit. I had reporter hair. And we don't want to do that when we're content creators. We want to be our authentic self. So that's tip number one, be yourself. If you're loving this so far, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. Let's go to tip number two. Tip number two is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Bonus tip, hit record while you're practicing, because you might have a take that you really like and you don't want to go to the end and go, crap, I wasn't recording, right? So practicing is the best way to master speaking on camera. So sometimes people do it in front of the mirror. When I was a reporter, I would always practice out loud before I recorded. And this is so critical. I can't stress that enough. You can write the best script. You can go on ChatGPT and shortcut it and have it write you a great script. But guess what? If you can't say it out loud, if you're tripping over the words, it doesn't matter how good it is. It's not going to land well on video. Not to mention that you shouldn't be reading on video. That's a sub tip of this tip number two. Never, ever read anything, because it makes you look robotic. How do I feel about teleprompters? People ask me this all the time. I can't stand them, because people can see your eyes going across. Like, even if you've been doing this a while, anchors look very robotic. They can have a great personality and they can have a great presence, but ultimately, they're reading you the news. Don't make your people feel like you're reading them your content. Talk to them like real people. And that means sometimes you stumble, and that's okay. But how do you reduce the amount of stumbling is you practice saying it out loud. So if you haven't said it out loud before you hit record, you're missing a critical step to getting camera ready and being more confident when you talk. Because if you've said it already, then that instantly takes away that like stage fright of like, oh God, I'm about to record. Well, you've already said it, right? So what if you hit record before you even started officially? And then you just practiced and practiced, and then you just go into it. You don't have that quick kind of elevated heartbeat and the nervousness and your heart beating before you hit record, because you're already a few minutes into it. So that's a good little hack to get you to just hit record, start talking even before. You can always cut out the part where you weren't really officially on and then get into it. So really practicing out loud, I can't stress enough, is hugely important. Tip number 3, pick one person that you're speaking to. A mistake that a lot of people make is that they talk to a camera like they're speaking on a stage. They even elevate their voice. They are speaking to a crowd, and then they get all kind of stiff and think to themselves, okay, like I'm talking to a bunch of people and I have to, that comes with a lot of stress and anxiety, and you feel like you're on the spot, like you're literally in the spotlight. But what if you could picture speaking to a best friend, speaking to someone who means a lot to you? Maybe it's a parent. Maybe it's maybe it's your coach. Maybe it's one of your clients, especially if you're a coach or someone who has a course where you teach something, you're an educator, or you're in some kind of how-to space where you're educating through your content. Speak to the person that you're educating. Picture that person in your mind. They always say, have your ideal client avatar. Well, who's your ideal client? Give them a name. Give them a persona. Picture how they look. Maybe pick a real person who is legitimately someone who's interested in what you have to share. And then picture yourself speaking to them. How would you say it if you were sitting across from them with a cup of coffee? How would you say it if you were, out having drinks and there wasn't a bunch of lights on and, you didn't have a microphone and a camera? That's how you can deliver your content to camera. Deliver it like you're talking to a person. One quick tip here, and I recommend you watch this podcast episode if you haven't already done this, which is speak to the lens. That whole thing in person where if you're talking to someone and you don't make eye contact, like imagine if you were at a cocktail party and you were talking to someone and you were having your drink and you never really made eye contact with them. Like right now, I'm staring at myself on the screen because I'm recording on my laptop and I am not making eye contact with you. But if I lift my eyes and make eye contact with the camera, that suddenly is the equivalent of making eye contact with a person that you're speaking to. So that is another secret. I mean, it is a little confronting and a little bit awkward to look at a lens, whether it's the lens of your laptop, the lens of your phone, or if you have a camera, but that's where you want your eyes to focus. So this is going to feel uncomfortable at the beginning, but it's also going to make you appear more confident on camera if you're speaking to the lens, because it's the equivalent of making eye contact with a person in real life. And if you haven't already, I recommend you watch this podcast episode where I talk all about eye contact and why that is so important. Okay, tip number 4, body language. This is a huge one, and I do lots and lots of teaching on this. Here's a deep dive into body language if you want to know more. But to summarize it, roll your shoulders back, take a deep breath, and speak from your diaphragm. Okay, that's super important in terms of just where you have your voice coming from, but don't slouch when you're talking because it instantly makes you seem less confident. It also makes you kind of boring. When I roll my shoulders back, all of a sudden, I'm a little more engaged. I'm a little more alert, a little more present. But you also don't want to use your hands too much like this, right? Like you see, every time my hands come into the frame, it's a little bit distracting. So watch what you're doing with your hands. And also make sure that when you talk, you don't do this with your face, your head. When I was on TV early on, I had a producer tell me, okay, Shirley, like we love your stories and stuff. And you got a good presence, but you got to keep your head more still, right? So this is another one of those broadcast things that maybe doesn't fully apply in the online space, but you also don't want to be all over the place because it can be distracting, right? So just remember in a real life conversation, you wouldn't be doing this all the time. So don't do that. If you have a swivel chair and you sit in a swivel chair, don't swivel. Maybe replace that with something static so you're not tempted to move around. The less you can be distracting with your body language, the more effective a speaker you'll be and the more confident you'll come across and become. If this is resonating with you so far, you like what you see, remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video in this challenge, and you can do it right along with me as we go. Number 5, and I can't stress this one enough, watch your videos back. I get it. It can make you cringe. It's not my favorite thing either. I hate watching myself back. I hate editing my videos because then I have to watch myself do it so many times. And, I do edit out the screw ups sometimes, but Sometimes I don't. I just don't like it, but I have to do it because the times in my broadcast career when I didn't watch myself for long periods of time, I wasn't improving. I wasn't making progress. We are our own worst enemies. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to camera confidence, but it's also something to keep in mind when it comes to improving, right? Because there's probably things that you do when you're on video that you're not aware of until you watch them. And maybe someone else will never mention it to you. And you'll realize that there's this thing you do with your eyes, or maybe your eyebrows, or maybe, I remember after I had my first daughter, because of nursing all the time, my shoulders were always like this in my reporting. And it took me a while. I was finally watching myself again, and I was like, I need to straighten my shoulders. Like, why am I always like this? Well, it was because I wasn't aware of my posture and body language because it felt normal to me, but my body was changing. And I wasn't continuing to watch myself and learn from what I see. So watch yourself back. I guarantee you, breaking news, your first videos are going to suck. They're just going to suck. And that's okay, right? Even if this is not your first videos, maybe the next few videos you do are going to suck. And when I say suck, I mean like aren't perfect. The perfectionist in you is like, no, I don't want to post that because it sucks. You're just going to have to power through it, hit post, and just keep iterating and learning, because there's that authenticity piece. People love to see your journey, right? You're seeing me grow through this process. And so I want to see you grow through this process. Like this video, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment below. What's your biggest hang up when it comes to being confident on camera? Even if you've been on camera for a while, you've been doing videos for a while, let's not be cocky. We all have room to grow. I have room to grow. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this challenge, right? I'm learning on YouTube as I go, and I would love to have you there with me. I almost tripled my following just by putting out like one video about the challenge and pointing it to another video. So what can you accomplish? What can you do if you continue on? Remember, I'm posting a new long form video every Monday and Thursday for 90 days. So this takes us through just past New Year's Eve, 2025. Whenever you're watching this, whether it's in real time or later, I'm always going to be dropping videos to help you along the way. And the way I can make this the most useful for you is if you comment and tell me what videos you want me to make. What can I help you with? How can I help you with this challenge? What are you struggling with? What can we work on together? This is an opportunity to grow. And maybe as we go along, maybe I'll highlight people's videos or channels. I can help you along the way, but you've got to talk back to me. This is a two-way street, right? So being on the news, one-way street. I'm just telling people what happened. Being on YouTube, being on LinkedIn, this is a two-way street. It's a conversation. So stay tuned to the next video in this challenge where I'm going to be going into more detail on LinkedIn. And of course, this challenge is about integrating the two together. So watch for that in the next video in this playlist. And I can't wait to see you shine on YouTube and LinkedIn. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.